What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy Five Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. And here with my co-host, my guy, the only Sacramento Kings fan that I know. What's good, Spread Astaire? How are you this morning?
Man, if they keep playing like this, I'll probably keep being the only Sacramento Kings fan. Pretty disappointing start to the season for our guys, but hey, it's only one game. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I was on the other side of you. I'm sorry, I had to
I
fade them.
didn't. I wouldn't bet on them.
Yeah, after I saw that the Blazers had picked up Grant, I was like, that's all they need, along with Lillard, to beat the Kings. Unfortunately, because Lillard's just that better than everyone on the Kings. You know what I mean? And a lot of teams in the NBA.
And
Yeah,
you know what's funny? He didn't play well. He
it
he
doesn't
actually,
matter. It's just him being out there. You know what I mean? They
yeah,
got to respect him. They got to pick him up from half court
yeah.
when he comes across. They got to come double and try to get the ball out of his hands, so that creates opportunities for other people. So just his presence, I feel like, and also him. A lot of people don't give Lillard enough respect for the type of playmaker he is too. He's pretty smart at getting them into good shots. Getting open threes for the team and still running the point guard position, even though he's a great scorer. So. Um, I didn't think him and Chauncey were going to get along, but it seems like maybe they might have fixed things over the offseason, and he really wants to be one of those guys like Giannis who brings a title to a smaller city and a smaller organization. Astros took the lead last night 2-0. Another great pitching job by the Astros. I'll get into a little bit more when we get to the past because it was one of the ones we gave out. What do you think about the Christian McCaffrey trade?
Pretty good for 49ers for right now, but boy, they only have one third round draft pick and then they start in the fifth. So they'll only have one pick in the first 2 days this year. And I don't know. I don't want to criticize these guys because they've done a great job. And also the way that things are going with the too high, maybe running backs are the way to go here. But the 49ers have put a lot of draft capital in the running back. Hopefully, this is what
Yeah.
finally solidifies it for him. But after running in that super basic offense that Carolina was running, I think Shanahan's going to fully unlock McCaffrey. And the combination of him and Deebo Samuel, both in the backfield, should be fantastic. So, as a fan, I love it. Just as an overall football fan, I wonder how the Niners are going to feel in a couple of years, though, because they're not going to be able to restock that portfolio. My last thought is what a great time to be a Seahawks fans, right? They've got picks coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not high on what the Arizona Cardinals are doing. And the
Right.
Rams and the Niners have traded all the picks away for like the next 10 years. So they might have a real good chance to have a good team in the next 2 or 3 years. But as a fan for right now, it should be really exciting to watch. So let's see
Yeah.
what this does. The NFC's wide open, so why not take a swing?
I think the 49ers have really since the last 3, 4 years since John Lynch has been running that thing with Shanahan. I think that their approach is Super Bowl or bust. They simply are dealing with the ghost of the past. When you go in that building in San Francisco, all you see is, Lombardi trophies everywhere. You see pictures of Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, some of the game's greats. And I think that pushes them to really go all out for a Super Bowl. It seems like they're about to transition into Rams mode. And you saw what that did to the Rams organization by doing that win now and without thinking about the future. Christian McCaffrey is an awesome player, one of my favorite college football players ever. He has great skills, so he should do well. The only worry, as always with him, is his health. If he can somehow, he get out in that Bay Area and do like Steph and go get with Balco and get his health together, man, and get the right type of supplements to where he can stay healthy, he'll be good, with that offense. And, him and Shanahan go back so far. Shanahan talks about stories about he used to babysit him when he was a little kid and stuff because McCaffrey's dad played for Shanahan's dad, so they kind of grew up together. He was like his big brother to him, so they have a great relationship, and I think they're going to get the best out of him. All right, let's get into.
Last night, your New Orleans Saints couldn't get it done against the Cardinals. And I mean, I don't want to just go over this over time, but this Thursday night football product's so bad. These teams don't have the time to prepare. And you look at the Saints team that had like two beat up quarterbacks. You don't think they could have. I think this would have been a much better game on Sunday, but that's neither here nor there because Thursday night's here to stay and they need to add that by. I'll be honest, with everything else going on, we had baseball on. And I don't even watch baseball that much, but the playoffs is a whole different atmosphere. That Georgia Tech game was pretty good, the one
Yeah,
that we had talked about yesterday.
yeah.
And then
Mm-hmm.
I thought the basketball was just much more entertaining. I know that's just because I'm more of a basketball guy.
Yeah.
Game didn't really keep my interest once it looked like the Saints weren't going to cover. So I'll let the heavy hitting analysis go to you. That one was a tough watch for me last night, even though it went over. And that's why maybe I'm different, because I'm sure people love the scoring, right? I mean, it soared over the total. We did see a bunch of good, exciting plays, but to me, it wasn't really that exciting. What did you see that I missed?
Joe Public hit last night because there was a lot of money on Arizona and the over, and they finally let them win on the Thursday night standalone game. As a Saints fan and as a Saints backer last night, that was a truly frustrating game. This is one of the reasons I don't really bet on the Saints. I told you I had the worst luck, as a fan of a team. When you bet on your team, it always is crazy stuff like this. The Saints came out prepared. They looked really good on offense. They got the ball to Shaheed on a bomb on the first drive. They're driving down to take complete control of the game and go up about 21-7 at the time. Marcus Callaway doesn't fight for the ball in the end zone, creates an interception on Andy Dalton right there. That one wasn't on Andy Dalton. In fact, 2 of the interceptions that Dalton threw weren't on him. They were on Callaway. The first one in the end zone, and that one really started the trend of the Cardinals taking over the game. It got the Cardinals motivated, got them believing, because the Saints were smacking them at the beginning of the game, man, and they had the game in complete control. After that interception, Cardinals drive down, tie the game with 14-14. There's a minute left in the half. During this last minute, the Saints get the ball back. Dalton's been moving the ball well. Him and Pete Carmichael working well on the offense together. Receivers are winning. Everybody's open. Dalton's doing a great job of getting the ball to people. They're going to go get a field goal or a touchdown before the half. He hits Marcus Callaway right in the hand over the middle. This guy misses the ball. It goes up in the air. The tip is picked off by an Arizona player. He takes it to the house for a touchdown. So now I'm down 21-14, and I got +1 and +2.5 for the game. +1 first half and +2.5 for the game. After that, I'm like, oh my God, but it's still a minute left. And the Saints have been moving the ball so well. I'm like, well, maybe they can go get a touchdown before the half, or at least a field goal. Where now the second half they can do what they need to do. And on this one was all on Dalton. He doesn't see the linebacker playing robber, throws it right to him over the middle. He takes it back for a pick six. So you got 14 points by the Arizona defense in the last minute of the half that really spelled doom for the Saints and for my pick. Anyone who watched the game knows that the Saints could have easily won this game. You take away those 14 points, they only lost by 12. So they should have at least covered. It was really frustrating. And I'll talk about Dennis Allen a little bit later in the show, man. I'm not impressed at all with what he's getting from those guys. It looks like the Saints team isn't giving a lot of effort right now.
The Clippers and the Lakers. But to do that, we're going to bring in our guy, Skee Prophet. And I want to hear his thoughts on the game as well. Skee, welcome to the show. How are you feeling? And I know that was your favorite team last night. Boy, Taco, they have a plan A. And I've said this before. They have a plan A. LeBron and AD be the 2 top 5 players in the world. That plan A doesn't work. They don't really have a lot of options. Hey, Lonnie Walker's doing better than I expected. And that was fun because I threw him on my DFS team last night, almost by accident. I just landed there. And he had a great game. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on what happened in Los Angeles last night.
First off, it's good to be back on the show with y'all and, talking NBA and all that good stuff. But last night, I actually fell asleep on the game at the end of the first quarter. So I was going to rewatch it. It comes back on at 9, and I didn't get to do it yet. It's only 8:45. So what I'll say about the Lakers, what I've seen so far and just this offseason is, it's not going to work as currently constructed. It's just not enough shooting. I hear you talking about AD and LeBron being the top guys and stuff like that, but you still got to make the roster around them like good enough. Like every team that LeBron's had, even if you look at, like, people said that 2020 team for the Lakers that won the championship didn't have great shooters. They still have better shooters than this team we have right now. So teams right now are literally just like leaving them open, letting them shoot, and they can't hit a shot. It's ridiculous. So until they change the roster, I did see one play with Westbrook yesterday. They passed it to him at the top of the key. it was nobody within like 10 feet of him. And they got their back turned to him, and he still don't want to shoot the ball. So until they move, add some better pieces to the roster, and it's not all his fault, and add pieces to the roster to make them competent on the court.
I really think that the Lakers front office is sabotaging LeBron. I really do, man. I think that behind the scenes, this just is my opinion, looking from afar and just from the information that I've gotten. I think that the Lakers, Jenny Buss and Rob Pelinka have negotiated with different things with Clutch, and they have like kind of ill feelings toward him. But now that they're in the LeBron business, they're in it and they're stuck in it. And, you know, it also sells tickets. And it's almost like they're doing with LeBron the same thing that they did with Kobe. You remember how they did Kobe at the end of his career? Like they didn't put anything around him because they knew that the tickets were going to sell out because it's Kobe. And they're doing the same thing with LeBron. And LeBron is still a really good player, man. He still can quarterback an offense really well. If they had shooters around him, they would be one of the better teams in the West. They will not put people around him, and it's all because of the front office. And I don't know if it's personal with them and Clutch, or if Clutch has made so many enemies throughout the NBA that maybe free agents don't want to come there and help LeBron win. I don't know which one it is, but it's something that has to do with that relationship between Clutch and the Lakers front office.
Yeah, I just think they're incompetent. I just think they don't know what they're doing. I think LeBron said, go get us Westbrook, and they gave away all their role players. And now even if they want to make a move, what do they have? They have the 27 and the 29 draft picks. That's tough for me. Let's say I'm the GM of a team like the Kings, and I make that trade. I'm not going to be around in 27. So why would I do that, right? It's really tough. And to Skee's point, I know exactly what you're saying. You're going to watch today, and you'll be excited when you watch. If you fell asleep the first quarter, because the Lakers, what this team can be, you're going to see it in the second quarter when they come back and they'll tie the game at halftime because they can be really good. They can dominate down low. But exactly what you said, you know what the Clippers did? They put Zubac on Russ, and they said, you're just basically floating in a zone. Everyone else is playing man, right? So it's basically 4-on-5 on offense. And then you had Zubac, and Zubac was beasting last night. He in that matchup, he's really good. It's going to be interesting. There's going to be nights like last night for Zubac, where he looks like he's one of the most important pieces on this team. And then against other teams, he's not going to get any run at all because Ty Lue's going to use those matchups, right? When he goes smaller, right, against Trailblazers or Kings or teams like that really aren't that big, you might not see a lot of Zubac, but he did pretty good there down low. So we'll see where that one goes.
How was it incompetence when they had the best drafts in the last 10 years? Everybody that they've drafted the last 10 seasons has hit, so it's not.
Yeah, but they gave them all away for AD, man. Which was.
There's no way you're going to tell me that they're not smart enough to get shooters around LeBron. Come on, man, you're going to sign Pat Bev, and you already got a Pat Bev from Westbrook. They do the same thing.
I feel like they gotten to the point where, like Spread said, or like you said too, they drafted all these good players, and Spread said they sent them all away, right? And then the two guys, Anthony Davis and LeBron James, both had to sign off on getting Russell Westbrook. And you sent more of those guys away. And you seeing how it's working out right now. So I think they're just at a point where they're like, do we really mortgage the future for this guy right now when he wanted us to make this move in the first place?
Anthony Davis is the problem. He didn't, LeBron hitched his wagon to the wrong guy. Steph was smart enough to hitch his wagon to an organization that believed in him. LeBron hitched his to a guy that he was brought through Clutch Sports, and he thought that AD was going to be a Hall of Fame player. And AD is one of those guys who he got successful, and he didn't, get better after he got successful. He just got there and enjoyed the fruits of winning.
I agree with that. I've never been high on AD as far as when people were putting him in those conversations because we saw what he did with the Pelicans, and it really wasn't too impressive, right? They had that one nice win over Portland to make the second round that one year, but they matched up with Portland so well. I mean, It was almost like a perfect draw for him. So I'd probably agree with you there. How do you feel about Anthony Davis, Skee?
I think a little bit of the hunger has kind of been lost, I think, to what, Five-Star was saying there. I would agree with that. But I still think he's a great talent. I mean, I disagree about the Pelicans thing because he was beasting. It's just a matter of putting him in a good position because when he was next to Mirotic, that was perfect. That's what we need. Yeah. That's what you need to have, like a stretch four next to AD. He got all the space in the world. You don't have the paint being crowded. He can do whatever he wants. He was real good. Yes, they beat Portland in that series. And even when they played the Warriors, he was giving them hell. So I've seen him have success when put in the right situation. He looked really good the year we won the championship in the bubble. It's just now what it's turned into with Anthony Davis right now is everybody's supposed to be shooting to help space the floor for him. And it's turning into him trying to go out there and shoot to space the floor for everybody else. And it's not supposed to be like that.
Exactly. You're exactly right, Skee, on that. And he's lost some. We're gonna move to the next game, but he's lost a little bit too physically. He's not the same guy he was in New Orleans either, man. He's got a little bit more weight on him than he had in New Orleans, and he's not as quick off the floor as he was in New Orleans.
Because they want him to play the 5 here, and you got to bulk up if you're gonna play the 5 for the season, or else he's gonna be injured.
Yeah, I mean, great points all around there. So, Skee, did you see the Bucks and the Sixers? Were you awake for that one? What'd you think? I thought that was a pretty exciting game. I thought the Bucks were going to win pretty handily. Sixers actually made a move with Embiid off the floor, but once so I was happy. I was on the Bucks, but you watched that last shot by Harden. Why are you foul hunting with the game on the line? He just does that too much. Foul hunting's fine. I understand it's part of the game, even though we might not like it. But don't do it with the game on the line. That was my main takeaway. Giannis was the best player on the floor once again. What did you think?
Giannis is going to be the best player on the floor probably every night.
Yeah.
But Harden on that last possession, I agree. I didn't really love it. But I felt, and I need to go back and watch it again, that last possession. But I felt like nobody else really wanted to take that last shot. And it kind of just, he had to go do what he had to do. But in general, I love what Harden's been doing, how he's been looking this season. I know Doc Rivers says he wants him to be more of a passer and stuff like that, but he's looking damn good the way he is right now, in my opinion. But the rest of the team, I mean, Maxey, I like Maxey too. I'm gonna be more specific. Embiid sucks. He stinks. Yeah, I need to be talking to you because you like Embiid a lot over Jokic. So we're gonna talk about how he's on the floor, 50% of the time. Like laying on the floor, laying down while they're going back.
No, I like Embiid last year over Jokic. This year, give me Jokic.
Every possession, he's falling on the floor and just laying there. Like, get up. What are you doing? You're putting your team at a disadvantage. And that's probably why when he's off the floor, or when he was off the floor, they started to make a comeback. So I'm really disappointed and not liking what I'm seeing from Embiid. And until he becomes more aggressive and becomes that player that we saw last year, Sixers will not be any good.
Things on Embiid. Number one, the defense has fallen way off. And they're going to need him to be one of the top defenders in the league, kind of like Gobert was with Utah, right? They don't have the best perimeter defenders there. But last year, the defense was so good because they had a couple lockdown guys that they could put on ball. And then if those guys did fail or navigate the switches incorrectly, Embiid was there to clean everything up. We're not seeing that. And I don't know if you listened to Nate Duncan, Skee, but he hit it right on the head. Since this pairing with Harden, Embiid's got worse and worse with this foul grifting. And now he's become, to me, one of the most unwatchable players in the league. And I was excited for this pairing. But if they're just going to sit there and try and draw fouls the whole game, and I understand for Harden, right? He's 6'3". He's, for an NBA style, smaller dude on the floor. But when you see the biggest guy on the floor just constantly flopping around, you can argue about whether or not it's smart. But to me, it's a tough watch here. So hopefully, Embiid can start to realize who he is and play a little stronger, and that team can meet its potential.
My take on that game is that Embiid is out of shape. That's simple as that, bro. He got to play himself into shape. That's what's going on with him. I don't know what he was doing in the offseason, but he didn't take care of his body and do what he needs to do to be his old self, period. That's all what's going on. Harden came in shape. He took the offseason very seriously, and he came in focused. Unfortunately, as I've watched Harden for years, man. That's the type of player he is, what you're seeing right now. He pounds the ball. That's the only way that he can be successful. Unfortunately, he will not be a catch and shoot guy. He will not. So he's going to pound the ball. That's going to take away from Embiid. Embiid has failed into getting fouled too much, like you said, Spread. He's been doing a lot of flopping and stuff. But it's the internet era that we in, guys. We all come back, especially me and you, Spread. We've been watching basketball a long time. These guys been doing that forever. The flopping. Reggie Miller was doing that same stuff. It just wasn't the internet that could criticize him about it. Michael Jordan lived at the free throw line. He was crying the whole game about getting fouls. Karl Malone, half his points that he made to get him in the top 5 in scoring has been from the free throw line. because he was a flopper. So it's just we're in the social media area, guys. So everyone criticizes and looks at things and this gets on my nerves. It's just the millennial generation, but there's nothing wrong with trying to get to the free throw line. You stop everything, you get 3 points, you get easy shot, and everybody gets a break. So free throws is still a good thing. Believe me, coaches like them a lot.
What do you take away? 2 games, not a big deal, right? I mean, neither fan base should be worried about 2 losses to 2 good teams on both the 76ers and the Lakers. Would you agree with me? Or would you be worried?
The Lakers are going to have a hard season until if they don't reconstruct that roster. Because at some point, LeBron's already through 2 games looking how frustrated, guys. He's frustrated already through 2 games. So how do you think he's going to look by All-Star break playing with this mess? Where every time we know LeBron's game since he's been in the league, I can get to the cup and I can score whenever I want to. Now he doesn't have the energy and the engine as much with him being in his late 30s. But he still can get to the cup and draw attention and kick it to 3-point shooters. And that's always been his thing when he had winning teams with the Cavs and with Miami. And he cannot, every time he's kicking it, ready to throw his hands up and, for the 3 to go in. And what happened? Boom, brick, another brick. It's going to get frustrating, man, on the Lakers, man. Sixers, Embiid's going to play himself into shape. They'll be all right by All-Star break or so. He got to play himself into shape. He had too much fun in the offseason, man. And that's one of the things people worried about with Embiid was he's very much like Shaq, and he likes to have a really good time in the offseason and do his thing. So, his body, he plays himself into shape just like Shaq used to do. And that used to frustrate Kobe. We'll see how Harden deals with the fact that he's not getting the best out of Embiid right now.
I agree with what you're saying about Embiid not being in shape, because that's probably why he was on the ground all night. So if he could fix that, that'll help the Sixers team a lot, because they're giving up a lot of easy points on the other end. So I agree with you there. And it's still early for them. The Lakers side, the only way it would potentially work as currently constructed is if Russ comes off the bench. And he's already shown you he's not going to accept that role. The one game they tried to bring him off the bench in the preseason, he's faking an injury and saying, me coming off the bench caused me to get hurt and stuff like that. He's not accepting of that role. So the only other option is to trade him for a better fit.
What about his coach, Skee? Real quick, not to cut you off while you're talking about that. Isn't that a little bit on Ham? Ham's supposed to be a strong figure that came in and supposed to be completely opposite of the guy who just left. He's supposed to be the strong guy and respected figure in the NBA. And you're going to let Westbrook tell you what to do? He's supposed to make it with Westbrook. Hey, you don't have a choice. You're coming off the bench. Because all Westbrook care about is getting announced before the game. That's what he's worried about.
Hey, nobody ever brought Westbrook off the bench. He brought him off the bench. It's just you're putting your team, like, if Westbrook doesn't play, I mean, I would be okay with it. But as they probably look at it as, we at least want to have him out on the floor. And if he doesn't start, we're not going to have him. So I hear what you're saying. It's just we haven't seen any other coach besides him bring him off the bench. I feel like he should have been brought off the bench last year. So I'm not going to put it on Darvin Ham.
Okay, well, he's not the same player he was even in Houston. We had a different version of Westbrook. He was on the decline, but he was a lot better than he is now. He put up some great numbers with the Rockets.
His confidence is gone, and he don't want to be there. He don't want to play. So that's what you're seeing,
Yeah, he want to go somewhere where he could just run around. So they need to send him to one of these teams that's losing, because he's more about just, I want to ball. He's accepted already that his championship in life is getting a contract in the NBA, a max contract, win an MVP, that he's never going to win a ring. So he just wants to go somewhere where he can hoop. So they need to send him to Utah somewhere, like you said, where he could just run,
Yeah, the only thing I'd say for all, because I'm friends with Lakers fans, and when they're calling doom, you played the Warriors and the Clippers, 2 of the top teams in the NBA. It's not over yet. And Skee, you'll see, and I'll be interested to talk to you about that. He actually ends up getting 5 steals. We saw some good effort on the defensive end from Russ.
Okay.
The problem was 0 for 11. 0 for 11 from the field. Pretty rough to overcome.
Let's get to the Yankees and the Dodgers game from yesterday. It's a little bit about baseball. He bet to baseball all season. He did really well in MLB this season. Just a little bit on the Astros and the Yankees game, man. Once again, pitching rules today with the Astros. Unbelievable job by the pitcher staff coming through again. The best staff in baseball. And Dusty Baker still isn't getting enough love for the job he's doing, managing that team. The key factor that no one is looking at when it comes to the Astros and their style and how they're being able to win is that they're playing old school National League baseball. It's pitching, it's stealing bases, moving the batters with bunts, clutch hitting, and great pitching. You know, that's simply how they win the games, and that's all from Dusty Baker because he came up in that era. And most people don't play baseball that style anymore, especially in the American League. It's strikeout, fly ball, or home run. You know, so they are really difficult for teams like the Yankees to deal with. I saw the Yankees were crying about the roof being open, but Manfred is the one that said the roof had to be open for the game because they're saying that the ball that Judge hit would have went out the park anyway. And I'm like, come on, guys. Like, when we get to this point now, we all watch Major League Baseball. Every game is a warning track shot like that. He just missed it. You guys have turned it into this big affair. Just take your thoughts on that Astros and Yankees, and what do you think about the series, Skee?
My opinion, I'm not a big Valdez guy. Usually when I see him out there, I'm trying to find some way to, bet an over or even try to bet against him in some form or fashion. But he pitched better than I thought yesterday. He went 7, he only gave up 2. And
why do people think that about him? He's going to be top 5 in the Cy Young race.
He just, bro, he gives up runs. It's like they just still probably hit for him or something like that. Like, I know the Astros, that's what it is. It's like you always got to be scared of the Astros bats, and that's why I don't like betting against them so much. But Severino, he had previous success versus the Astros, and he was pitching well yesterday. It's just he left that one pitch right there, and they knocked it out. So once you give the Astros a lead, their bullpen is great, and it's tough to come back. So the stuff with the win, though, I'll say the win matters, but it's not like they closing it when one team hits and open it when the other. You know what I'm saying? It's even for both. So
right.
That's all I'll say.
Right. And Manfred is the one that told them the Astros want to keep the dome. The crowd is a much bigger factor when the dome's closed. When it's closed into a dome at Minute Maid, it makes it a lot louder in there. But Manfred told them, hey, you guys got to have it open if it's clear weather. So that's what happened on there. Did you watch that game at all, Spread?
Yeah, I had it on, but I'm not hey, I just watched. I was a little worried about the errors when it got cut to 3-2, but I don't have really any strong takeaways.
You took the Astros with me yesterday, right?
Yeah. Usually when you give out a pick on the show, I'm usually punching it in right when we do it. So that's why I had that one on. And like I said, it did catch my attention a little more than the Thursday night game, just because the feeling around a playoff baseball game is just unmatched as far as the tension in the stadium for the big at-bats and everything. So I enjoyed the broadcast. I think the game's a little slow during the summer, but I'm fine with it, with everything on the line like it was last night.
Before we get to Skee's picks, real quickly, Skee, I know you've been on baseball all year. What's your picks for the National League Series, and what's your pick? Do you think the Yankees can come back, and who do you see in the World Series?
Yeah, I'm not a big future player, but we're only down to a couple of teams. So do I think the Yankees can come back? No. I think Garrett Cole does a couple of things, or that high fastball is pretty good, but I'm not a big Garrett Cole guy. I know he's versus old team and everything like that, but to win, I don't know. The Astros have had the Yankees number. I don't really see them coming back in the series and winning. And on the flip side, Phillies have been hot, but I think the longer the series goes on, the more advantage towards the Padres, because I trust the arms and the bullpen more for them. Phillies bullpen can give it up. I mean, they got hot at the right time, but I think the Padres take it over. So if I have to pick Padres versus Astros, I don't even want either one of them to win, honestly. So
I'm not a Dodgers fan, right? My neighbor's a Dodgers fan. I haven't seen him in 2 weeks. Usually he's out at the fifth every morning talking noise to me. I haven't seen this man in 2 weeks. He's been hiding from me. He's looking out the garage, like, let me see if 5 stars outside. I'm not coming out right now. Who you got for some picks tonight, Skee?
Yeah, we'll go back to basketball. Okay. And I should have put my ice cream back up, but I know here's one thing I'll say, and it's just, off the bat, you already know. Miles Turner got hurt yesterday, right?
Yeah.
It was in warm-ups before game 1. Did you see what happened? He stepped on the foot of
ball
a ball
boy's
boy.
foot. Yeah, I saw it.
Oh man.
Well, as long as he's out, and I know it didn't happen in that last game, but I think they'll be a little bit more prepared with him being out in this one. And you guys if you guys can help me out, because my side little screen here, our laptop just kind of died. But the over hits 71.3% of the time when Miles Turner is out of the lineup since 2018. The Pacers are not going to have any rim protection. It's not a whole lot of defenders over there. And on the flip side, the Spurs don't have anybody who can defend either. So I just think it's an up and down game, and I like it to go over, just backing that trend for the Pacers.
Yeah.
Which team's going to be worse this year?
Spurs.
The Spurs looked bad. I mean,
they're trying, man. They won't win beyond it. They've done this before. They're pretty good at it. That's how they got Duncan.
This team knows how to tank.
Yeah, it looks like exactly what they're doing. They got a G League roster, and I mean, you guys tell me why is Popovich still there? Like, I feel like he's waiting on the tank to see if they can get that kid Victor. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, they get him, he'll stay around.
Yeah, he'll be hanging around.
Yeah,
so Spurs will probably be at the bottom. A lot of the way that I cap NBA is like recent performance and stuff like that, and we don't have that yet. Everybody's only played one game, so I'm trying to give you the best angles that I can. And one that I'll be looking towards tonight, and they look bad in the game one, and the other team looked good, but I feel like it was kind of a look ahead to this game right here. Like, this is the game they maybe have circled. Road Dogs in a playoff revenge role during the first 10 games of the season. They are 40-23 against the spread, 63.5%. That's the Nuggets +5 today. They looked terrible versus the Jazz, right? They probably did. They thought they could just sleepwalk through that game. They were waiting to get a little bit of get back versus these Warriors. So I think the Nuggets +5 is worth a look. I know Looney's been playing, pretty good lately, but they still don't have anybody who could stop Jokic, in my opinion. So, and he has some help now. I know Murray is, not going to be out there probably, but I like the Nuggets plus the 5 points tonight.
Murray's not playing?
I feel like I saw them say he's not going to play.
He rolled his ankle in the first game, and he came back. I'd have to pull it up, but yeah, it could go either way there. Regardless, Skee, and I don't have it up in front of me, but just off my memory, it seems like the Nuggets always did well against the Warriors, right?
Yeah, they have.
In regular season games. So,
yep.
Yeah.
It's a tough matchup for them to guard Jokic. That's what it really comes down to.
Right.
I mean, for almost everyone, but especially for the Warriors. And we'll see if James Wiseman gets some of that assignment tonight, because I don't know. I'm pretty excited about his development this year. You almost have to treat him like a rookie, though. He's going to make a lot of mistakes, but I think the team is so good they can absorb them during the regular season, right? I mean, they can absorb some bad minutes, some learning minutes from Wiseman, and hopefully have him be a good contributor. And I'm pretty excited about this team just being deep. I want to see Kuminga minutes, and I want to see Moody minutes. I mean, this team is just balanced so well. But I agree with you there. The Nuggets always play against the Warriors really well.
Always. We trust you on that NBA, man. Him and Spread are two of the brightest NBA minds. You're going to find both these guys have been doing it a long time. And, I lean to them when it comes to the NBA. It's not my sport. I know the game a little bit, but I trust these guys on their angles. Kick it to the NFL.
Interesting Sunday here. We only have one game between two winning teams, and that's the Colts and the Titans. The Colts are +2.5 heading to Tennessee. And for some reason in that AFC South, the road team always wins the divisional games. Colts are 8-2 in their last 10 trips to Tennessee. Interesting game here. I like the Titans, but all the trends say to take the Colts. What do you think, 5-star?
Hey, man, I'm on the Titans all day on this one. I already gave it out actually on ESPN 97.5. The main thing that really steered me toward the Titans was Vrabel coming off of a bye. He's really good coming off a bye. They've beaten the Colts, I want to say, the last 4 times that they matched up with them, for sure the last 2 at home. You got Matt Ryan forced to carry the load with the running back issues that the Colts are having right now, man. I just can't expect them to be able to protect him like they protected him last week at home. I think that the Titans get to him a little bit. I heard that Shaq Leonard did practice this week, which would have been huge for them, but they said he was wearing a red shirt, so I haven't heard if he's going to play. Most likely he's not, so that means that Derrick Henry's probably going to have his way. The Colts are on 4 against the spread in the last 4 meetings against Tennessee. I just like how Vrabel prepares this team, man, and I still think that the last 2 victories by the Colts are just fool's gold. I mean, they beat a Denver team that we know how Nathaniel Hackett mismanages that team, and Russell Wilson is not playing well at all. They can't score. And last week they beat a Jacksonville team that's young. They're still kids, and they're on the road facing a veteran team. And it kind of went the way that we thought it would, with the veteran team being able to squeak it out at the end. I think they get rolled this week by Tennessee. And it doesn't help that we got like 70% of the public money is on the Colts. So I'll be on the Titans for sure.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me with the strong trends. But I think football-wise, I agree with you. Matt Ryan has not been good under pressure this year, and I think that Vrabel on that defensive line will get some pressure. Do you have any thoughts on that one, Skee?
Yeah, I'm not a Matt Ryan guy. That guy can't move in that pocket. Like, if you bring some pressure, he's dead meat.
Yeah.
Tennessee, I want to say, like, it threw me for a loop. Spread. You said something like the Colts were, or maybe you meant to say Tennessee was 8-2 or something in the last 10 meetings. Because I'm pretty sure Tennessee, maybe, and I think they won like the last 6 or something. Like, I know they've been beating the Colts ass.
I'll let you know right now.
Okay. And I agree with what you said about the variable point. Titans with 8+ days rest in the regular season, they are 8-0 straight up, 8-0 against the spread. So you're absolutely right with that angle. And what Jonathan Taylor, I didn't see if he's coming back or not, but if they're without him, that's another thing they'll be missing. They'll be more reliant on Matt Ryan. So I'm with you. I think the Titans continue to beat up on the Colts.
Tennessee's won the last 4, Skee, and they've 6 out of 8 against the Titans.
Maybe I'm thinking against the spread. Let me look that up, and then we'll move on to the next game. If I find it, either that or I misquoted it, and my apologies. Let's look into some other interesting games here. I've been going back and forth on this one. The Packers are -4.5 against the Commanders. 5-star, do you think the Packers, every week we say, well, they got to get things going. They got to get things going. They're absolutely terrible against the run, and you can't win football games that way. Did the Packers ever find it, or is this season a lost cause?
Man, I don't know what's going on with the Packers. The coach is getting exposed, that's for one. And also his relationship with Aaron Rodgers is getting exposed. But Aaron Rodgers is so prickly and so hard and difficult to deal with, man. So I don't know if that's really on the floor, if that's on Aaron Rodgers. Something isn't right. The main thing is Devontae Adams being gone. They don't have a receiver that Rodgers trusts, and we know how Rodgers is about his numbers. If he doesn't think you're going to be where he's supposed to be, he doesn't want to throw it because he doesn't want an interception. That's what this all boils down to. He worries about his brand. That's why he doesn't let the ball rip. He's led the league in interception touchdown ratio his whole career, and it's simply because he's very careful with the ball. But he's still able to make big plays when being careful. That's the thing that's so special about it. This game, I won't be betting. I don't like either one of these teams. And that 4.5 is a really jinky number. Got a lot of money coming in on Washington right now, but I wouldn't be surprised by game day for Packers money in. I will not be playing this game.
All right, Skee, any thoughts on this one?
First thought is, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them, man. This Packers team is not it this year. I agree with what 5-star said about, like, he's missing Adams, and he knows, like, if he don't got that guy he could throw it to, you hear Rodgers already saying he's going to retire, right? Or am I mistaken? He says he's going to retire, so he already sees the writing on the wall. That's what that's telling me. And you looking at him last week, how many times was he sacked and pressured? Like, what do you think Washington's defensive line is going to do? They were just killing Justin Fields. So
they don't do me.
As soon as Aaron Rodgers starts getting tackled and touched, he don't want to play no more. You know what I'm saying? So you switching from Carson Wentz to Heineke, or it's an upgrade? Carson Wentz is
is Heineke starting?
Yeah.
Oh, that's huge. I didn't know that. I like Washington then.
Yeah. You give me no Carson Wentz, and you give me
Wentz might be up for the rest of the year. I think that's a 4 to 5 week thing, and at that point, maybe they cut.
I knew his hand was hurt, but I didn't know if they had ruled him out. Thank you for that, Skee. I did not know because I didn't look at this game. It's not interesting to me to bet, you know.
Yeah, I had to pick up a streamer defense in one of my leagues. I picked up Washington. They about to get after him this week, so I will be taking plus the 4.5 points. No way I'm laying with Green Bay anymore.
Yeah, I agree too. With Heineke at quarterback, he'll scramble around and make something happen, man. So I agree with you on that one.
McLaurin is probably jumping for joy right now.
Yeah, for sure.
5-star, let's talk about two of our favorite teams. The Texans head to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders.
Yeah.
Texans catching 7 at home. The Raiders haven't won a game off the bye since like 2016. It's been a long time. To be fair, it's a different coaching staff. Don't know how much that trend really matters. think that's a lot of points to be given to a feisty Texans team that I think will be able to establish a run with Dameon Pierce. But the Raiders are my favorite team. They hurt me. Maybe I'm just acting out of my heart for how excited I was for the season and how it's just been an utter disaster. What are your thoughts on the Texans and the Raiders?
Well, I think the Texans are going to take over Allegiant Stadium, man. Everybody I know from Houston is coming down here this weekend. I'm talking about they're coming in droves to come bet the Astros this weekend and to go watch this game with the Texans at the Raiders. Off the muscle, looking at this game, I got to go Texans, even though Davis Mills is not a good quarterback. He struggles with pressure. He struggles with accuracy as well. It's just that I think that his coaching staff is going to put him in the right positions where they'll be able to keep the game close. The Texans have been one of those teams that have been sneaky good defensively all season long. They have two guys in the defensive backfield, and Jalen Petrie and Derek Stingley, who are future All-Pros, and they're already, showing on film that they are the real deal. They bring a lot of intensity and great coverage skills in the back for their defense, and then their defensive line. They get all types of pressures from a bunch of no-name guys, man. Lovie Smith does a really good job with their defense. I just think that the Raiders don't play tight enough to cover 7 points against most teams. They just make too many mistakes. Derek Carr misses too many open guys, and they also turn the ball over a little bit too much. What they have to worry about is Josh Jacobs. He's been playing great ball. I just think Josh McDaniels keeps the Texans in this game, and I don't think it's a blowout. I think the Texans keep it close.
What do you think, Skee?
I don't have a super long opinion, but I'll say I don't think the Raiders should be laying 7 points versus anybody. I just don't think their defense is not good. Like, they've not held any team under 20 points. I think they've given up 23 plus every single game. I get that we don't love the quarterback for the Texans, but it's, for me, if I'm getting involved here, it's strictly a play against the 7 for the Raiders. Just how can you lay a touchdown with the team that's looked like that? That's how I feel.
All right, let's talk about what I think is going to be an exciting game in the afternoon, probably more exciting than that Texans game. Two excellent Super Bowl contenders coming off a loss. The Kansas City Chiefs, we know, came short against the Buffalo Bills, and they take on the San Francisco 49ers, who absolutely laid an egg in Atlanta. To be fair, they were missing like half of their starting lineup. Then they reinvigorate their room with the addition of Christian McCaffrey. That line moved a full point, little buyback on the Chiefs. This has been between 2.5 and 1.5 all week. I know that you know the numbers better than me, but it seems like money coming in on both sides now for this game. The Chiefs in San Francisco taking on the Niners. What do you think, 5-star?
Is Bosa playing?
He's questionable. We don't know.
I got to wait before I bet this. If 49ers had a defensive line intact, I'm going with the 49ers. One, it's way too much money on the Chiefs. It's like 80% to 20% on the betting on that, man. And so that alone will make me pay the public and ride with the book on that one. And you remember when that game first occurred last week when Atlanta smoked the Niners, I tweeted right after the game, I'm on the Niners next week against Kansas City at home. The thing that I didn't factor was that Kansas City was going to lose to Buffalo. So Kansas City will definitely be motivated. But remember, this is a Super Bowl matchup. The 49ers feel like the Chiefs took their Super Bowl. So I'm thinking that at home, the 49ers are going to be really wired. We're going to see the best of them this game against Kansas City. And if their line is intact, they'll be able to get after Mahomes and cause him to get off his game a little bit. Now, DeMeco Ryans does such a good job as a defensive coordinator that they'll be able to try to bracket the great Travis Kelce. And now if he has to go to his wide receivers, can we really trust their wideouts to make plays? So I'll be on the Niners with the points as long as the 49ers whole defensive line plays.
What do you think, Skee?
I agree with the point about the Chiefs losing, and it's tough to go against them. I mean, it's always tough to go against the Chiefs in a row like this, where it's kind of just close to just winning the game. I got to ask you guys real quick. It's too late. McCaffrey's not going to play, right?
He's going to play.
He's going to play?
Playing.
Oh, man. You got that boost too, man. I mean, how you beat Kansas City, in my mind, you run them all game long. That's how it's been the past few years, and that's what San Francisco does well. So you getting McCaffrey over there too. Like, I have to lean towards them. The better defense getting points, they can do what Kansas City's weak against. They're at home. And I feel like just getting McCaffrey, that's them showing like they really going for it this year. They really think they could win it all. So I would have to go with the San Francisco side.
All right.
What you think about that was Fred?
My original thought is just to go to Kansas City. But you're exactly right. I'm waiting because that San Francisco pick I gave out last week, if I would have known Bosa was out and the rest of those guys were out, I wouldn't have made it. So to me, San Francisco is you bet that game Sunday morning or you don't bet it because I want all the information. I haven't said on my other show, I would not bet the Niners until I'm watching NFL Network at 9 a.m. and I see Bosa on the field, right? That's how worried I am. And I think that's how much he means. And I've talked about it before, how I think that these edge rushers almost mean as much to a defense as a quarterback means to an offense, where one guy can literally make all the other 10 guys better. So I want to wait on that. I'm leaning Kansas City here, but if Bosa plays, I'm going to completely stay off it. Let me jump in, and maybe I was wrong. I got this off OddsShark. It does say Indianapolis is 8-2 straight up in their last games when playing on the road against Tennessee. But that's just from OddsShark.
On the road. Okay. I gave you the total series. Okay. That's probably on the road.
Okay. That was the one that I was quoting off the top of my head. I need to do a better job of attributing those. We're going to get two more NFL games, Skee, if you got time. I want to talk about the Seahawks and the Chargers because I like the Seahawks. I like Geno Smith. I think it's pretty cool, the story going on. I've always liked Pete Carroll. And, I'm happy to fade, Brandon Staley, who 5-star. I know how much you're watching, right? We've dubbed him the ultimate little rascal. He's the little rascal ruining the Los Angeles Chargers team. I want to take the points, but it seems like everybody's on the points. It was plus 6.5 to open the week. It's all the way down to 5. Is this too much public love, 5-star? Because I want to bet the Seahawks, but I'm worried that I'm falling into this public trap and I'm buying this team high, right? Like you're buying Bitcoin when it's 60K with these Seahawks.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So much money on Seattle, and how could you not be when you got Pete Carroll going against the little rascal? The Pete Carroll's going to have the advantage on the coaching side. Man, the Chargers, they're just not well coached. Their offensive side looks horrible. They got Herbert throwing the ball 60 times a game and still only putting up 18 points, 17 points a game. They don't get the ball to Austin Eckler enough. I think that they're coaches on the clock. I think that you're going to be very happy with your team next year, Skee, when you guys get my old coach over there from the Saints, and he's running things and gets the ship righted over there. And you guys will be Super Bowl contenders then when he comes over there. But for right now, even though the public's all on the Seahawks, for me, it's the Seahawks or pass. I just cannot bet the Chargers right now just because Brandon Staley, he's going to make sure that the other team covers. So, Skee, what you think? That's your squad, man. You're a Chargers fan.
I didn't know that, Skee. I didn't know we were rivals there.
Oh, who you like, Spread?
The Raiders.
Oh, God damn it.
Hey, that's your hometown.
You're going to have to come. Hey, when the Chargers come to town, we're going to have to get you out of Spread. We're going to have to set you up at Caesars, man.
All right. Or we can go down to Los Angeles. There'll probably be more Raiders fans there.
Actually, yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you, though, this game, and I'll tell you this, I'm a fan, but I'm not biased, bro. Right. The past 2 weeks, I think I bet against the Chargers. Maybe even, what was it, the Browns plus 2.5, and it was what was the Chargers laying last week? They didn't cover it.
Nah, 4. We had the Broncos, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's simple. You do not bet the Chargers if they're laying 3 or more. That's not their role. You already talked about the coach. That's a big part of it because he's going to make a lot of stupid decisions to leave points off the board. So you look at that. The defense has been banged up for the past few weeks now. They're not, a lot of the star players that we were talking about coming into the season are not out there. You look at J.C. Jackson getting benched. He's not looking like himself either. Like, the Chargers defense is not trustworthy like we thought they were going to be. And even on the offensive side, like, I don't even remember. When was the last time we seen Keenan Allen playing? You had the whole reason why the Chargers line was better and, Herbert was looking so good was because we drafted Slater.
Yeah, Rashawn Slater, left tackle.
Rashawn Slater,
big loss for the team.
A huge. Their offense has declined so much. You talking about end rushers make a difference, left tackles make a difference the same.
Yeah,
You're
And
exactly
that's a
then
right.
great point.
and then Herbert was been out there hurt, and his best blocker is gone. He's seeing people coming at him. He's like he's not trying to take them hits. He's throwing them into the dirt. He's throwing them out. You know what I'm saying? So Chargers laying 5 versus Seahawks team who's been pretty competitive against the spread. You know what I'm saying? I would have to look towards the Seahawks way. And more than that, I think I probably like the over because I talked about how hurt Chargers defense is. Seahawks defense is ass. I think Herbert's still going to be able to throw on them, and I think Geno's going to be able to come right back on us. So I don't agree with the total dropping from 53.5 to 50. I think this one should go over, and I think the Seahawks are the right side.
Yeah, I
All
like the
right.
over on that game too, Skee. And that's one of the few games I like the overs on. I don't really bet overs at all. I bet if I'm going to bet any total, which is rare as well, because I don't have a lot of luck with totals. I do bet the under on most of these games. But I agree with you, man. And it's crazy because the Chargers just run Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
That's all they have to do. Everything would be so easy. They would not give Austin Eckler the ball, and I would never understand what Staley's doing unless he's just trying to pump up Herbert's stats. But he's hurt, man. So let the guy, hand off the ball a little bit. What else you got for us, Spread?
I want to ask you one more question on that game because I feel like you know a lot more just about athletes and what goes on behind closed doors. How do you think Staley should handle the J.C. Jackson deal? Because Russell Wilson was like 10 of 11, and then they benched him, and then he just went back to being absolutely terrible. They paid him a lot of money, but he necessarily wasn't performing. You got to expect he's going to be good. You just go right back to him, or do you just say, hey, you got to play your way back into the lineup? How would you approach it, and how do you think he will approach it?
The only way to approach that is to put the best man who's playing the best ball out there. It doesn't matter what you're getting paid. It doesn't matter your name, what round we drafted you. If I'm coaching the team or if I'm making the decisions, I want to put the best player out there. And for some reason, he isn't taking well to the defense that Staley runs. But if you remember, I think the Chargers play a lot of man. Isn't that right, Skee? They play a lot of man-to-man, right, with the Chargers,
Well,
correct?
when we're healthy, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I've always known them, especially since Staley's been being a man team. And if you remember, what J.C. Jackson does well with the Patriots is zone. So I've never understood why all of these teams go get these cornerbacks from the Patriots and then try to make them play man to man and think that they're going to be good when they never played that type of system. They always played a system with Belichick where their eyes are on the quarterback. They keep their eyes looking into the quarterback. They don't turn and run. And they try to make these guys turn and run. But to answer your question, Spread, I would definitely go with the best man up.
All right. Let's just talk about Sunday Night Football real quick, and that will be it. We have Miami. What game is that? Excuse me. I was on the NBA odds real quick. Miami Dolphins are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dolphins are -7. Steelers, of course, got that great win over Tampa last week. Dolphins started out 3-0, now are 3-3, but should be getting their quarterback back. Everyone wants to know the Sunday night game. They all want to bet it, even though I don't bet them very often first, unless you give me a pick. I think that sometimes people force action on those games. But what do you think? Is there an edge in this game at Dolphins -7?
The Steelers played well last week, besides the fact that they can't throw the ball. Even with Pickett there, they can't throw the ball. Is Pickett going to be playing this week?
I'm not sure. Concussion or something, right?
Yeah,
they
I think
keep
that's another
concussion
game
protocol.
time.
Okay, so if you got Trubisky out there, you got Tua coming back, you got no TJ Watt, the Steelers struggle with coverage. Last week they played above their heads for Tomlin. Now they're taking a trip down to Miami. They got all day Friday and Saturday to sneak out and have a good time. I'd probably be on the Dolphins first half if I was going to bet either side on this game, because when Tua's their offense is clicking a lot better because he's very accurate and they have a really great play caller and head coach. So I think they get up early on the Steelers. I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers backdoor cover because they do stuff like that. They are a really tough team because their coach is really a tough guy. But early, I like Miami first half if I was going to pick any side on this game. But I'm going to wait till the last minute. I am on these type of game spread. I'm not betting this game until Sunday after all the games go out, like 5 minutes before it starts. I got to find out where the public money at. I got to find out who's going to be the quarterback, and I got to find out who all is going to be back on defense for the Steelers because I know Fitzpatrick is hurt too.
Skee, any thoughts on this one?
I have to start giving Tua a little bit more credit just because we see how the Dolphins look when he was not out there compared to the first couple games, the first few games. Even in the one game, what was it versus the Ravens when they had to make a comeback? That's Tua throwing that. So I got to give him credit. And I think his energy is going to uplift the team. Coming off a couple of L's, you got to get this W here. Steelers off that huge upset last week, a little bit of an exhale here. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's one team really hungry, one team maybe a little bit more satisfied, and I would be looking to go with the team that's hungry. So Miami would be the side out picking this game.
All right. There you have it. Thanks for joining us, Skee.
We appreciate you,
No
Skee.
problem.
We'll see you next week.
All right, let's do it.
All right, brother. We went a little long. Let's fly through this college real quick.
Just wanted to throw in my thoughts because you're the main capper here. UAB at Western Kentucky minus 1.5. That's tonight. Who do you like?
Tonight we're going with Western Kentucky on this game. Definitely UAB plays great defense, but Western Kentucky is a real juggernaut on the offensive side. A lot of people like UAB, but I'm on Western Kentucky.
All right. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this one because I'm a Pac-12 guy, even though it's probably got 2 years left as a conference. But number 9 UCLA has been, would you say, the surprise of the season, at least west of the Rockies. And they're going to take on number 10 Oregon, who has been a powerhouse, right, for at least the last 10 years. It's a statement game for UCLA. Do you think they get it done?
I'm very excited about this game. I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to talk about it and break it down a little bit more in the Ball and Parlay because I'm actually taking UCLA, and I'll tell you why in the Ball and Parlay.
Excellent. Number 14, Syracuse takes on number 5, Clemson. This should be a fun one. Clemson, with everything going on in the college football world, kind of being overlooked, but they keep getting wins. What do you think here?
Clemson is laying 14. Dino Babers really plays Clemson well over the years. He's one of the better coaches against Dabo in that conference. He has Garrett Schrader, but Garrett Schrader struggled a lot against Clemson over the past years when he played. In the last 2 years, he started quarterback. 14 points is a lot of points to give Syracuse, which is very good on defense. They're one of the better defensive teams in the country, and they also have a great running back as well. I'm going on either side. I'm probably going to go Clemson minus 14 at home just because I think it's a bag number.
All right, number 20, Texas takes on number 11, Oklahoma State. Are you surprised Texas has come back so quickly? We thought this program might be in trouble. They're looking good now.
It all boils down to what we talked about with Sark going to get TCU's old head coach, Gary Patterson, to be his advisor. He's given them a lot of information that I think he's utilized, and it's smart on Sark's part for being wise enough to go get counsel from a coach that's a little bit older than you and that has put in a little bit more college work than he has. Shark has been around for a long time as well, so they're both veterans. But Gary Patterson was a head coach, I think, a little bit longer. This is going to be an interesting game. They're saying Spencer Sanders for Oklahoma State might not start, which would mean Gunnar Gundy, which is Coach Gundy's son, would be the quarterback. If he's the quarterback, I like Texas to cover the 6. If Spencer Sanders play, I like Oklahoma State, maybe even money line. But we'll see because Sanders is banged up. And as I told you, Gary Patterson has helped that defense a lot, and Texas plays lights out on defense now.
All right, our last ranked matchup, number 17, Kansas State is heading to number 8, TCU. TCU laying 3.5 here. 3.5 is always a tricky number. How are you approaching this one?
I got to lay the points. TCU's offense is too explosive for Kansas State. All they have to do is stop Kansas State 4 or 5 possessions in the second half, and TCU is going to score. Once again, you got tight ends, running backs going against wide receivers. TCU is going to get up and down that field. Sonny Dykes is known for throwing the ball around, just like his father did. That he has one of those guys who started the air raid, the run and shoot offense, and he has the right trigger man and Max Duggan running that offense. And I really think the TCU covers this minus 3.5 pretty fairly easy.
All right, let's get to the future. What do you have for the future?
Just real quick on the future, got to go Cincinnati Bengals. They're plus 190 to win the AFC North. They're 3-3 tied with the Baltimore Ravens for the lead in that division. I just like Cincinnati moving forward because of quarterback. I think as it gets colder, Lamar and that offense is going to struggle more. And I think that as T. Higgins and all those guys get healthy, that the Bengals are just going to develop more because a lot of people don't know that Joe Burrow was dealing with an appendicitis. He got his appendix removed before the season. He missed a lot of practice time, and he's slowly shaping back into his usual form. He looked really good against the Saints last week. So I like Cincinnati Bengals plus 190 to win the AFC North.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. Another thing they did during the offseason was overhaul that offensive line. And we know that this is not Madden. You don't just plug these guys in and they're all good to go. If anything more than in professional sports, maybe NBA defense, but offensive line, you need cohesion. You need to know the guys. And I've talked to offensive linemen and they'd said, I'd rather have 5 guys that have played together that are cohesive than 5 just excellent individual talents that don't know each other at all. So I think their line, their ability to run the ball is going to continue to improve. And we know as the weather gets colder, that becomes more and more important. I'm with you there, man. I've been high on this Bengals team. I love Burrow. I love Chase. I love what they're doing out there. My only concern, they got a little rascal too, right? I'm not high on Zach Taylor.
Man, it's a tree of them now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. McVay has a tree of little rascals.
I know. It's absolutely wild. But I think it should be enough in that division. Of course, the Baltimore Ravens will be tough. Let's get to kick the damn extra point. You got to give it to your own guy this week. Oh man, what happened?
You warned me, Spread. You told me that you heard when Dennis Allen was coaching the Raiders that he was not that guy. And I tried to give him a chance because I thought Sean Payton had mentored him and prepared him after all these years as being his assistant head coach. But he is not ready. He's not taking control of the team. The guys look a little bit too loose. They don't look buttoned up. Sean Payton had the Saints buttoned up. That was one thing that you knew, that Sean Payton was the leader of that team, and there was no question. I see a lot of guys just doing what they want to do with the Saints right now. Dennis Allen is supposed to be this great defensive mind, but maybe with Sean Payton, because our defense doesn't look anything like it looked when Sean Payton was there. Maybe he made Dennis Allen better. Dennis Allen, hey, man, you're going to be one and done if you don't hurry up and fix everything going down in New Orleans right now, man. You got into it with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, forced him out because the guy didn't want to practice because he wanted to get paid. Instead of you being a man and being able to sit down and work it out with him, instead of you being able to analyze the fact that he equated to wins for your defense, you emotionally let him go. You traded him to a conference rival who's going to be in your way from getting to the Super Bowl over the next 5 years now. Just silly. The defense took so many steps back. The offense, they turned the ball over way too much. Most of all of the Saints look so disinterested. Dennis Allen, get your stuff together now, man, and kick the damn extra point.
All right, let's go to the Ball and Parlay. What do you got for us?
Man, I got to go with UCLA. UCLA plus 6.5 at Oregon, and also Spread. You and I be playing them plus 230. This is one of the bigger games of the year. You got undefeated number 9 UCLA traveling to Eugene to face the number 10 Oregon Ducks. Both these teams are coming off bye week, so they're both going to be fresh and amped up for this one. Chip Kelly returns to the program that he built. Kelly has never beaten the Ducks in 3 previous meetings against them. Oregon has won 3 straight meetings with UCLA and 9 of the past 10 in the overall series. And I think that's going to really motivate these Bruins. They've been on a revenge tour all year. The Ducks have won 7 straight home games against UCLA, so I know that Kelly's going to be motivated to come to Eugene and make a statement. He's never won there since he's left. Both these teams are led by quarterbacks who are playing the best ball of their college careers. They're both veterans. You got Bo Nix. He surprisingly played really well for Oregon this year. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is my guy. He's one of my favorite players to watch. They call him DTR. He's finally reached the expectations that the Bruins program had when they got him. He was the number 1 player in Las Vegas high school football. Oregon has looked good since being embarrassed in week number 1 by Georgia. But who have they really beaten? Their strongest victory in those 5 games has been BYU. I'm not too high on BYU. UCLA, on the other hand, has beat 2 really good teams in their last 2 contests, Washington and impressively Utah. Utah is a really good team. You saw what they did to USC last week, and UCLA was able to really handle them. They're more battle-tested. I also like DTR and trust DTR more than Nix. Another factor is that Chip Kelly's teams, the last 2 losses in Oregon have only been by 3 points. Now he brings his best team he's ever had there. This is going to be a huge game for this Bruins program. if they win this game, as long as they win the last game against USC, they'll probably get into the playoffs, man, and win the Pac-12. I just really like what the Bruins can do. They're 6-0 against the spread in the last 6 conference games. And Oregon struggles to stop the run, so I expect a big game from Zach Charbonnet, a speedster. It's a great combination of speed and power, running back for UCLA. So I'm rolling with Chip Kelly to finally get it done, to go to Autzen Stadium on the visitor side and get his first victory. So we're going to take UCLA plus 6.5 and plus 230 outright.
All right, I'm going to go to the Basketball Association tonight. I'm going to take the Brooklyn Nets -3. Brooklyn Nets 0-1. They ran into a steamroller in Zion Williamson, who, if he's playing like that, nobody can match up against him. Then we look at the Toronto Raptors. Yes, they got a win in Game 1 against a very good Cleveland Cavaliers team. Darius Garland doesn't have that eye laceration. Don't even know if they pull that one off. Plus, this Toronto Raptors team is so much better at home. I love getting the Brooklyn Nets off a loss here. And I know they struggle with Zion, right? And you say, oh, they're going to struggle with the size of the Raptors. But the Raptors don't pound down low. Where they really use that size is on that defensive end. But KD can beat any of those guys. I expect a better game from Kyrie Irving. And Ben Simmons, I think, will also continue to improve. He looked rough in that first game, but they don't need a lot from him. They don't need a lot from him. He just needs, he fouled out in like 20-something minutes. He just needs to be able to stay on the floor, provide that good defense. So I think we see a great game from Kevin Durant and company tonight, and the Brooklyn Nets cover a short spread -3 at home against the Raptors.
I like that pick a lot. So we got spread going with the Nets, and I'll be going with the UCLA Bruins. And also, you guys, in case you missed ESPN 97.5, I also gave out Texas A&M money line on the road against South Carolina, and I also gave out the Titans -2 in money line against the Colts. So you got 2 extra bonuses from me this week. So make sure that you put in A&M money line on the road against South Carolina, 8-0 against those guys in the last 8 matchups. And you got Jimbo Fisher coming off a bye, and then also we're going to roll with Mike Vrabel coming off a bye with the Titans getting it done at home against the Colts. Anything for the people spread before we get out of here?
No, great show today, man. That was a lot of fun. We're bringing Skee back, NBA talk. It's just a great time to be a sports fan.
Great time, man. We got the convergence going on, guys. We really appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're going to be here Monday, Thursday, and Friday. And we're going to do a lot better job of getting these shows up quicker for you guys these coming weeks, man. We've been having some slow uploads, but it's okay, man. It's all about getting this information out to you guys. Best of luck to you all this weekend. We'll talk to you guys on Monday.